welcome back to Interjections. Inter 1-0 losers to Milan. Yet another derby come and gone without 3 points. Why does this keep happening to us? We're going to break it all down for you. I'm your host, Andrew. Jay and Mikko here with me. Jay, what's happening?
Yeah, not much. It was difficult to motivate myself for a late November Monday after watching that abject performance. But, I'm a career professional who somehow made it some way up the corporate ladder despite frequently uh, going into work half asleep, furious, on the verge of snapping, following decades of insipid into performances. So this is another to add to that list, but obviously stings a bit more because it's a derby. And as you mentioned, this is now 6 in a row without a win against Milan. It feels like that 6 victories in a row we had has been somewhat nullified, and people will say, oh, Milan haven't won 6 in a row, which is true, they haven't. We've drawn, I think, 2 or 3 of those games, but regardless, it still feels like the momentum has very, very conclusively swung the opposite way, and we'll get into it, but it's very frustrating the manner in which we've surrendered control over the city. So I'll pass it back to Mikko, who I believe attended the game. Money well spent, Mikko.
Yes, here I am in this fucking city.
The man on the street.
Yep. It's now, what is it? It's 4 matches in a row for me now without an Inter win. So I don't know.
You're the problem.
Yeah, I need to start picking my matches a bit better. But yeah, I guess Jay kind of explained my feelings as well. Very frustrated at the moment. But let's dive deep into the whole thing.
Yeah, I just want to start by giving Mikko credit for showing up today. Man, on location, going through the emotional trauma. He doesn't quit this podcast the way Irfan does. He doesn't quit when we sell our mediocre Albanian midfielders to Torino. He keeps coming. So shout out Mikko. Well, I guess I need to start by apologizing in advance because I'm out of interesting things to say. Just go back and listen to any of the episodes following a big match from the last 18 months and just put those on repeat because I'm about to be a broken record. It's the same story, and I don't know how to repackage these feelings and emotions into a new story for you guys because it's more of the same. And this was a disgusting match. It was the perfect metaphor for every meaningful match we've seen this team play in the league. We had a million chances and weren't clinical. We allowed one real chance to Milan all match. We conceded. Sommer has a nightmare. Water is wet. And yeah, we'll get more into Sommer in a second here, but we just keep losing these big matches. And what is really grinding my gears lately is the attack in front of the net because this team cannot score a goal under pressure, and we don't break down low blocks, and we need way too many chances to score a goal. And I don't care about being, quote, unlucky when there's no sustained periods of danger. Like there was no point during that match yesterday where Milan felt in danger. It was a comfortable win for them. We didn't even make them sweat for the 3 points. Like, did Allegri have some tactical masterclass yesterday? No. Did Leao or Pulisic have some world-class performance that made it clear there was a talent gap? No. It was Magnan having 2 6 out of 10 difficulty saves. That was the extent we made Milan work yesterday, and it just goes to the players. I have to keep blaming the players. I cannot blame Kivu for this team. He inherited the team with a broken mentality. He inherited these broken players who do not get up for big spots. And it all starts up front, man. Lautaro is not good enough. It's been 2 years. He had a world-class 6 months during the Scudetto season, and he's been a ghost ever since. Like, this is the second highest paid player in Serie A behind Vlahovic. And do you think we're getting a return on that investment? Do you think yesterday's performance was something the second highest paid player in the league should put forward? And then once again, this is on the players. Look at the Hakan penalty. You get gifted a penalty after Thuram's foot gets stepped on a full second after he releases the ball. And of course he misses it. He has missed the two most important penalties he has taken for this club. This was a true, like, absolute stinker of a penalty. Low, easy to save, not even far from the center of the nets. You could see the meltdown happening live. So he changed his routine and he just choked. And that's this team summarized. It is, as soon as you put any pressure on them, they choke. And I guess once again, because my theme for this one is just blaming the players, I'll finish by hitting on Sommer. I just, we don't need to beat the dead horse. He's finished. It's over. If Joseph Martinez doesn't have his legal incident, he should be starting the rest of the matches. Morata choosing to run it back with Sommer one more time has become a complete mistake. And this guy has been horrendous in every meaningful match we've played this season. So, Mikko, I want your perspective. You were at the match, you were in the stadium. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? Just let me be your therapist.
Yeah. Before the match, I was on the third ring, and I had a good view on Kurva Nord and Sud. Well, it's not Kurva Nord anymore. Like, I guess it's not Kurva Sud either anymore. But anyway, to be honest, they had like a better kind of representation of themselves there than Kurva Nord, or whatever it's called, Secondo Anello Verde, or something like that. I don't know. I feel that Kurva is kind of missing at the moment. They are there and they are kind of singing their songs, but something is kind of missing still. It feels there's some kind of confusion or something, but it didn't felt like it used to when I've been there. Of course, that's not a reason to anything, but it, it's still something missing, and it it kind of feels in our game as well that there's always something missing, and like you said, there's just, I don't know. It felt, the start of the match felt like okay. We we piled on the pressure right from the start. We got a couple of chances, but then I don't remember. I haven't checked the minutes, but if you remember, at some point in the first half, we like completely lost the plot, and Milan had maybe 5-10 minutes of this period where we were like super confused, and that was very frustrating. And I could feel it like around there when I was sitting, that people were like pretty pissed off. Like what the fuck are we doing there? Like it was hard to explain. Like, very, how do you say? We are like experienced team, but still we were like super confused, and it was very weird. But when it comes to the whole match, uh, I kind of, yeah, I agree that we had the control of the match in a sense, but it was mostly the ball possession, the usual cycling of the ball. But then we couldn't do anything or that much, and it was so typical that they managed to score from maybe the only counter attack where they actually get a shot on goal. I don't have the stats, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have many counters at all, and not like dangerous ones, except that one where Pulisic then scored the goal. So I don't know. It's super frustrating at the moment. To
Yeah, and there's
for
a
me,
valid point about how little we gave up during the match. Like we didn't concede chances, but the one chance we concede, they score.
yeah, that's the frustrating part. Kind of, I was I was I was scared when I saw that okay, Acerbi is going to start, and then I was like, okay, how are we gonna play now? But we ended up playing like pretty high line still, and we managed the whole situation pretty well, despite Acerbi being there, and he didn't get caught mostly, or that it would have hurt us in any way. But still, I after the match, I kind of wondered, would it have made any difference if Zizek had started? Would we have been able to kind of press them more because we played pretty typical kind of well at this point pretty typical derby in a sense that we didn't press them super much, like super high. We let them pass a bit there. Then we put on the pressure in certain situations, and then they couldn't do much with the ball. I mean Milan, but still, it felt like compared to, for example, the Lazio match where we pressed really high, and okay, I can see the difference that Milan has Modric to control their game, so it could have been more kind of suicidal to do the same against Milan as we did against Lazio. But now that we saw the match, how it went, we kind of controlled the match, but we didn't still create like a lot of quality chances. We kind of created some danger, but it didn't end up to any kind of super good chances in the end. So I was left wondering like maybe we would have needed some different approach. But at the same time, I kind of agree that mm, with you about Kivu that maybe we can't blame him. He was against Allegri, like a seasoned veteran, multi-year Scudetto winner, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't like properly collected my thoughts yet, but uh, any any other things you wanna say, Jay?
Uh, Honestly, not really. I mean, there's obviously something mentally wrong with this team, and we're now not 4, not 5, not 7, not 10, but 12 games without a win against Milan, Juve, and Napoli. And obviously, as we've seen, the Udinese anomaly aside, our losses this season have come against Napoli, Juventus, and Milan. We are at 8 goals conceded and 4 goals scored in those 3 games. So we're not even able to like draw these results anymore. Forget winning. Like we can barely hold these teams to wins. We're just losing, going down without a fight, going down way too easily. And you know what it screams to me is it's like classic flat track bully behavior, right? It's classic big fish in a little pond kind of mentality. But when you get to the big leagues, you just don't have it. It's classic imposter syndrome. And obviously that's disappointing to see that this squad is just riddled with that kind of imposter syndrome. And Andrew kind of touched upon it as well. But what's doubly frustrating to me is just how easily we kind of let these teams get away with it. How easily we're letting these teams win these head to heads. You know, it took a bit of a sideways example, but it took us 9 years, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, sorry, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, or euros rather, in a mercato and bringing one of the best coaches in the world in Antonio Conte, coupled with Juventus hitting their worst coach and worst period in 20 years for us to win the title. And after that, the balance of power kind of changed, and we established ourselves as probably the best team in the league for the better part of the last 6 years, probably like since 2019 or 2020. I feel like we've been the best team, and yet we have so little to show for it. And I know that's like a somewhat of an extension of what I'm touching on specifically regarding this derby result, but it goes deeper than just this game. This game is just one more brick in the wall, and it's really frustrating to see what could have been a legacy, what could have been a dynasty just thrown away so easily. Like, we didn't even fight for it. We just, both our Scudetti, we gave away, we failed to defend. And now, I mean, guys, Juventus is shit. Napoli are in crisis. This Milan they finished 8th last season. And forget the Champions League finals, and maybe even forget the Scudetti as well, but we can't even beat these guys. Like, what's going on where you can't even get one over the Igor Tudor Juventuses and the fucking Fonseca Milans and the Paulo Conceição, or the Sergio Conceição, I can't even remember anymore, but the Conceição led Milans, and this Napoli that gets demolished 2-6 against PSV or whatever. How can we not beat these guys? I feel like we have, when you compare the levels that Inter has played at over the past 2, even like past season to like past 4 seasons, I feel like we've easily been the best football playing team in the country since 2020. And yet still this massive imposter syndrome just won't seem to go away. And, I kind of poke fun and very, very inopportune moments, very, very insensitively, I guess, make fun and, pour salt on the wound while it's still fresh. But I joke that, I'd say like, oh, Inter's the 3rd team in Italy for a reason. But maybe it's fucking true, because these guys just can't seem to get over it. These guys cannot seem to just get over these mental hurdles and take the opportunity there, the power gap there, and consolidate that to establish themselves as the new king. It's like when a usurper takes over the throne, he's always looking over his shoulder for the real king to come home. And that's the way Inter's behavior has been. And that's really disappointing to see, because there's been such an opportunity there. And I'm kind of talking across a short and long-term perspective here, but in the short term and in the long term, I just feel like this club has been guilty of losing so many opportunities in the past 5 years when there's been a chance to really establish ourselves as a dominant force, and this game was just more of the same.
I'm really tired of this group of players being the like flat track bully, and this was a criticism of Sterling. He always had it of like the Belgian national team during their golden generation, the last few tournaments. And it was basically, you'll put up goals, you'll score 5 goals against inferior competition, and you'll look at the team and be like, oh, look at that like sexy champagne football. But like the second you turn up the pressure on this team from a 0 to anything over a 2, it's good night. And we can sit here and we can say it's like, yeah, we play attractive. It's like, yeah, when we're playing our game and there's low stakes, you watch us and this is the best we've ever looked. Like, if you compare stylistically this team to Mancini or Mourinho or Conte, like, it's not even a conversation. Like, it looks like we're playing the dominant way. It looks like we're playing the way Europe's elite sides play in many ways. But it doesn't matter, because the second you have stakes on a match, whenever a goal is needed, whenever this team needs to defend, it all goes crumbling away. And that's why it doesn't matter, because this team just doesn't have the mental fortitude. And the comment Bastoni made after the Italy loss has made a lot of Inter fans upset. It was basically to the point of, in Italy, they take a losing too much is life or death, and we need to learn to treat it more like the NBA, where losing is a part of life. And it's like, do we though, dude? Do we? Like, having 4 losses through 12 league matches is not good enough. The idea that we're going to challenge for a Scudetto this season is laughable right now, when we cannot beat any of our direct Scudetto rivals. Do you realize we have the same amount of points as Bologna right now? A Bologna side who has consistently qualified for Europe with multiple managers. We're going to be in a fight for our lives for a Champions League spot this season, with the trajectory of how things are going, with this team being unable to win meaningful matches. We're not going to. This isn't last year, where we played against basically the weakest Scudetto side imaginable and lost by a point. Like, everyone is struggling this year. Everything is tight at the top. And explain to me how you think this team's going to win a Scudetto when they can't get out of their own way. It's just, those dreams need to be considered dead, and we just need to pray we get this thing to the top 4. Mikko,
Uh,
the one thing I want to ask you about is just, I don't know if you really touched on it. There's been a lot of debate online about the goal we conceded and like the initial shot from Salamakers, and whether or not that was going in or whether Sommer should have just let it go. I'm just curious, from your perspective in the stadium, did you think it was going in?
yeah, I think it was kind of the bottom corner, but but yeah, the way Sommer catch it, that was the worst. Like, I don't know. I guess that's everyone's opinion at the moment, or most of people's opinion. And yeah, he starts to be a bit of a problem for us. The first 2 seasons he was excellent, but now Juve match, and then now this one, and I feel he hasn't been like super confident throughout the whole season. So it is a bit of a tricky situation for Kiev. Um, especially as Martinez has his kind of issues. I don't know if he ready to actually play or not. So I guess we might need to go with Sommer still. It's at least I have a feeling that it might start affecting our kind of the rest of the team who's playing in front of him. Like, can they trust him properly anymore? That's maybe my concern at the moment. I'm not I'm not that doom and gloom at the moment when it comes to Scudetto race. That's wide open still. It's November. It's not April. And is it Roma leading the league by, what is it, 3 points? So that's nothing. So let's calm our tits a bit
I
with the
mean,
Scudetto race.
Scudetto race is pretty open, as you said. Like,
Yeah,
this season is a bit of a shit fest where we're 4th, but pretty much equal on points with the top 2-3 places, despite losing 4 out of 12 games. Like, most champions go a season with 4 losses in total. You know what I'm saying? And we've got 4 already, and we're not even halfway through the season. So we're a third of the way through the season. We literally have a 33% lose rate, which is just ridiculous to think about. And to go back to what Andrew was saying about Belgium and being a flat track bully, this team, it's like, I mean, yeah, you can kind of win a title by beating like the lower 14 teams and then rolling the dice against the top 6, but it's just such a shit way to feels like a shit way to win the title, if you do even win the title. But even then, it's just, you never get to this next echelon where we want to get at, because you're seeing it in the limitations in these Champions League finals and other key games where you just don't have someone to sprint at the opposition defense, causing terror and then taking a shot that the keeper spills. I mean, Salamakers is no world beater yet, but He made a good run, took a shot, and it was low and hard and accurate enough to force the keeper into to spilling it. Did any one of our guys take a shot that caused Magnan the same difficulty that made Magnan spill a shot into the on-running, into the on-rushing striker's path? No, we couldn't even create these half opportunities, because when we tried to shoot, Bastoni shot from inside the box, but somehow put it into Rosette, leaning back like a fucking oaf. Bonnie had a hilarious attempt from outside the box. It was nicely squared to him by Diouf, but he too somehow side-footed it into from the San Siro to fucking China. I mean, what's going on, guys? Can one of you losers get a shot on target with enough power to at least force Magnan into a save? You know what I mean? Like, this is a kind of small margins, but these are the kinds of things that will get your points, that will get your goals. And again, we come up short. How many times have we said someone like Barella's had an underwhelming derby? And the guy's been underwhelming for 3 years in a row, guys. Lautaro too. We've spoken about him and his troubles, and I'm really reaching a point where I think the Scudetto we got to 2 years ago, and the Champions League final we got to last season, is the absolute. That's like 110% of what this team was capable of, and I don't think there's I don't think we're capable of going 120% to winning a Champions League title, and I don't really think that we can get much further than where we've gotten with this group of players. I think there's a lot of refreshing of the squad that needs to be done, and I think a lot of these players need to wake up as well, because you're seeing a lot of fear and a lot of doubt, a lack of confidence, and just this malaise that I can't stand. These players just feel sorry for themselves. They just accept defeat, and it's really unacceptable for players of this level who are meant to be mentally strong.
And this is the problem of being in such a financially precarious state, is you can't go out and spend your way through this problem. If we were an English side, if we were PSG, you'd go and you'd drop $250 million to get a star player to raise the mentality of the squad. We don't have that luxury. The die is cast with who we have. You'll probably see Sommer and Acerbi and Darmian leave at the end of the season, and then who will you replace them with? Some youngsters who are under the age of 25 on $2 million net wages. Those players aren't going to reshape the squad. That will mean Lautaro and Barella and Bastoni are still the ones steering the ship. And look, I just don't have faith that they're the right guys anymore. Like, they've let us down in too many spots. We need somebody who demands respect to come to this locker room at the player level, and that's the thing for me, really. It's when we're in these big games, when we're in these critical spots, we need a player who's going to say the buck stops here and is going to say, I'm not letting us lose today. And we don't have that. And we always talk about Vidal and Alexis because they were two of those players. And we just never replace that. We don't have the guys who in a big moment seek out the spotlights. And we all, I remember Irfan questioning the idea of a Lookman signing because it squad fits, blah, blah, blah. But we all think Lookman's that player because of his Europa League final performance, the thing of legends that he put up with the 3 goals against Leverkusen. And we need something like that in the squad. We just need someone with the swag, the mentality, who's going to say, okay, I'm winning us this game today. And until something changes, until there's some mental recovery from the core of these players, we're never going to achieve what we want to achieve, because these are not good sides we're losing to. It's not like we're losing to Conte's 104-point Juve team. Like, this is the worst Juve team in recent memory. They're going to struggle to qualify for the Champions League. This Milan team, as much as we have fun joking about how this is their second star season, blah, 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 like, realistically, is this Milan team walking to a Scudetto? Absolutely not. Like, they're going to be in a fight to the end. Like, these are beatable sides that we keep losing to, and our output doesn't match the quality. It doesn't make any sense. We gotta at least talk about it for 2 seconds. Mikko, give me the Andy Diouf breakdown.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising sub. But then when we saw what happened, it made a lot of sense. I think it was Udinese match when Kivu went with this wingers and two strikers formation, where Thuram was the winger, and then in this match, Diouf was the other one, and he was surprisingly good there, and we shouldn't, of course, make like a rash kind of analysis of what he can be and blah blah blah. We have like he has made it or anything like that, but at least we found one role where he can be kind of useful for the team, which is this type of game where opponent is using very low block and just smashing when they get the ball, they just smash it out. So we can kind of run the game all we want in those cases.
I've seen enough.
Diouf.
Fucking start him against Atleti. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck
No.
anymore. We're losing that game anyway. Just fucking start him. Speaking of starting, I mean, I don't think Sucic played bad, but I'm really surprised Kivu didn't start Zielinski.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought Zielinski is the player who was in form. I mean, Sucic has played fairly well recently as well, but I thought Zielinski was on the upward trajectory heading into the international break. Obviously scored that screamer against Verona, and he had another goal against Lazio disallowed. But overall was playing quite well. A lot of people were saying it's probably the best that Zielinski's been playing since he's arrived at Inter, featuring fairly regularly as well, and also had a goal and an assist on international duty. So this was a player in form heading into the derby on an upwards trajectory, and then we fucking benched him for Sucic, who pretty much did nothing except a couple of like slalom, what do you call those, like kind of slaloming dribbles like he did against Fiorentina, and make some overlapping runs on the left flank, which led to nothing. So I don't know. There's just not enough sharpness there. There's just not enough sharpness there. Like it's about incisiveness, and like you want the blade to be sharp and be able to cut you at any time. That's what Zielinski is. For the blade might be brittle, and his knife might be, kind of prone to chipping or breaking or whatever analogy you want to make. But Zielinski's sharp. You can't deny that. He can score a long range screamer. He can score a free kick. He can make a final pass. A lot of our players are just fucking blunt, man. They're all blunt. Thuram is blunt. Lautaro is blunt. Barella is blunt. Çalhanoğlu is sharp. But today, I think, obviously the mistake kind of rattled him. And, fair play to Maignan. He completely tooled Çalhanoğlu mentally for that penalty. And Çalhanoğlu kind of paused during his run-up, which he doesn't normally do. And Maignan kind of played him on it, It was a shame because I thought Çalhanoğlu was actually playing quite well until that mistake, which led to the goal. And had that mistake not led to a goal, maybe Salamakers takes a shot, and then Sommer saves it, or it goes out of bounds or whatever. It just doesn't end up in a goal. Then I think it's a completely different game for Çalhanoğlu, where he doesn't mentally crumble and he keeps up the level he was playing at. So I feel bad for Çalhanoğlu, to be honest, but in any instance, to go back to what I was saying, just not enough players are have that kind of they can hurt you at any moment kind of thing. Lautaro can't hurt you at any moment. You have to like get the ball to him in the box for him to do anything. He can't score a goal on his own. He can't dribble past anyone. Pio can't do that. Bonnie can, but he's got this kind of like slow, cumbersome style of running, which is fairly fast, but I don't think he's like blisteringly fast either. Tehran, very similar. Ultimately, what you end up with is a team full of attackers and midfielders who are not overly technical, and very few of them have any ability to create a spark or to do anything by themselves out of nowhere. Very few of them have any ability to make something happen out of nothing, or to hurt you in an instant if you're not careful. Whereas Milan, again, criticize whatever you like about them, can criticize the foundation or the stability or the reliability or consistency of that team over the last couple of years. But one thing that they've always had is these players that are like sharp knives that can cut you if you're not careful, and if you're not paying attention. How many times have we been burnt by Leao? How many times have we been cut by Pulisic or stung by like even some little shithead like Brahim Diaz? These guys have that ability. And again, bit of a tangent, but I just it's very frustrating when you struggle to break down opponent defenses, and you just truly see the extent to the bluntness of the weapons in your team.
Yeah, I wanna quickly comment on Sucic and Bonnie. You mentioned like, or how would I put it? I think this was not a match for them, or this match showed that they are maybe too green still, especially Sucic. I think you mentioned the slalom thing. I think Sucic started to be kind of good after Çalhanoğlu went out, so that was like something like 70, 75th minute or something, or when was it? And Sucic being there, I don't know if maybe Zielinski would have been a bit better, but the lack of Mkhitaryan there kind of it feels it's so visible that we don't have him on the left flank. Sucic seems to have still troubles finding his position in the kind of certain moments, and that's just the way it is. He's a good player, but he's not ready yet to be a starter. That's how it feels for Inter in a matches like this. And maybe Bonnie is a bit same. He was pretty tricky there, but then when the moment comes, he like completely fumbles the shot when he should have equalized the game. And that's just the one play, but that that's the place when that's the place where you where you need to do your job, and he failed it. It's okay. He's a young guy, but we see it on the score sheet immediately. We lost the game, and in a bigger picture, this just feels like we get this nice kind of bench depth now from in the summer mercato. But then again, what kind of depth is it? Is it really? Is it? It's essentially for the top four fight and not for the Scudetto. And we've discussed this like many times about this, like you Jay just said, that we don't have this ability to attack uh, with individuals. And Kivu himself kind of talks about this, that we need to attack with numbers. We need to put a lot of players in attack to kind of do anything, because uh, we don't have that look, man. That's like a story we've been talking for 6 months or one year already, and that seems to be a bit of an issue in these matches when we just can't do it, and an opponent punishes us one way or another. They just punish us when we commit to the attacks, and there's this one attack and they score, and then it becomes harder for us. But let's go quickly back on Diouf. Uh, I feel that he can have a place in the squad, but and maybe this kind of performance he had this, I don't know, was it 10 minutes total? Maybe this kind of performance will give him like more confidence, and maybe he will get a shot uh, throughout the season, because I think he might have some kind of spark in him that he can kind of skip his marker and create a little space for himself or others. But that remains to be seen. One thing I want to mention, one other player was Augusto. That was not a good performance by him, and I'm not I'm not feeling totally confident in a sense going forward without Dumfries, who apparently will miss like uh like many games from now on. Now now we have just Augusto there, since Luis Enrique seems to be like totally unusable. So that's maybe one thing I'm like quite concerned. I'm not as concerned as you guys about the season in general. It's it's still quite early. So
So
and
Mikko's calm.
we are still there. We are still there in the fight. So let's let's not worry too much. But there are spots we Kivu has some work to do.
Uh,
Work to do with the kind of roles
yeah,
regarding what kind of
I
players
hated
he has.
Augusto's performance yesterday. I completely agree with you. Like I thought Augusto was non-existent on the right, and we really missed Dumfries. The Augusto Barella side gave us zero contributions to this match. It was really poor, and it makes you worry if we are going to miss Dumfries for 4, 5, 6 games, as is being reported. Like, how are we going to survive? We need a Gusto to spell DeMarco on the left. He hasn't looked great on the right. He has looked serviceable at best, and he just doesn't have any attacking prowess. Like, you don't feel like he's going to unlock a defense. And are we really going to start using Andy Diouf as an inverted wingback? Is that a path to figuring this things out? I give Diouf credit because he wasn't afraid yesterday. Unlike most of the players on the pitch, he had the like intention of making something happen. It was give me the ball. I'm taking on my man. I'm getting into the box, and I will put something on a plate for you guys. So I give Diouf a lot of credit for that because the team kind of lacks that charisma and that like just willingness late in matches. And that's really Luis Enrique's problem, right? He's too shy. He doesn't step up into these spots. But I don't know how we survive the next 3 weeks without Luis Enrique playing a key role, because this Augusto at right wing back might work against Pisa, but it's definitely not going to be working against Atletico. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. With Luis Henrik, the problem with him is actually that he hasn't been like super bad with in the defense, which kind of was the question mark with him since he's naturally a winger and not a wing back. But but then the issue with him has been that he's non-existent in the attack, where he should kind of excel, and it's totally mental issue with him, and I think that's kind of spot Kivu needs to work with him a lot to be able to get something out of him, since I guess we need to use him at some point in some games. If Dumfries or when Dumfries is gonna miss like several matches now.
All right. Well, I think we've beat the horse dead enough on yet another loss to Milan. We do have a midweek Champions League fixture we should hit on, right? We play Atletico Madrid on Wednesday. This is going to be exceptionally tough. This, especially dealing with the mental blow we just suffered, losing the derby, and now you have to go and play away to Atletico, which Sterling dropped some stats for you in the last episode about how rarely Atletico lose this fixture. Like, this is not a game you want to mess around with. I will say Atletico's form in the Champions League has not been great. They've gotten demolished away to a couple English sides. They beat Union. That's our what's the word I'm looking for? That's this like opponent, the opponent we've both faced. So holistically, I don't have much confidence going to this match. I honestly feel like this is a rotation spot. I would like to see us rotate. I don't think we're going to, but in the grand scheme of things, this match doesn't really matter. I'm not saying throw up the white flag, but I think you need to at least put a few of your reserves on and just get ready for Pisa, because you know away to Atletico likely isn't going to end well. What I think is going to happen is we're going to go full strength. We're going to throw everyone out there and we're going to go for the win and be disappointed. But and I get it from a mentality standpoint. If this team loses 2 games in a row, can you imagine the media reactions? Can you imagine the fan reactions? So I'm not looking forward to it. But Jay, give me 2 minutes of thoughts on Atletico.
Yeah, not too optimistic, to be honest. On one hand, or rather, the only thing that I have to be optimistic about, or the only reason I could be slightly optimistic, is that this team seems to just have a way of compartmentalizing between the Serie A and the Champions League. And for whatever reason, we just seem to take the Champions League more seriously. Maybe there's this kind of desire to win it following the times we fell short and were unable to get over the line in those finals. But otherwise, empirically, as we've proven conclusively, this team just doesn't show up for big games. So the only exception being the Champions League. I mean, look at last season. Pathetic against Milan, Napoli, and Juventus all season, but then holding our own. Some would say outplaying the likes of Barcelona and Bayern Munich over 4 games. So, and meanwhile, keeping it professional and dispatching these teams like Feyenoord, who knocked out Milan in the round of 16 or in the qualifiers, and just otherwise, we're playing at the level of the big teams. This is all with a massive asterisk of excluding PSG, obviously, but we were playing to the level of and beating the big teams that we are expected to be on the level of, historically speaking, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, etc., while acting like a Barcelona and Bayern Munich level team by dispatching the Feyenoords and the fucking, Portos and whatever out there in the Champions League. But for whatever reason, we just can't do it in the league. So that's a long-winded way of saying if we can bring that kind of hidden Champions League switch and turn it on for Wednesday, then I might be slightly hopeful of a result. But everything else screams yet another big game, yet another big disappointment. So I don't know, honestly. I'm at a loss for a prediction here. What I do have a prediction for, Jay's hot tip, is Arsenal versus Bayern, I believe, playing at the same time that we are. Now, the very first time I ever encountered AFTV was watching the boys ranting about Arsenal's 10-2 aggregate loss to Bayern Munich under Arsene Wenger all those years ago when they lost 5-1. And I think 5-1, was it both legs? Or maybe they lost 5-1 to Bayern Munich in consecutive seasons or something like that. But anyway, this is the season where Arsenal get revenge. They are looking unstoppable right now, while all the teams lost. Inter, Man City, Liverpool. Only the most disgusting of teams won yesterday, i.e. Milan and Arsenal. So it's a real shit time for football, guys, and hate watching all the teams you love to hate. So that's going to continue. I think Arsenal are going to dismantle Bayern 4-1. As for us, I'm going to hazard a 0-0 prediction.
I'm taking 0-0 immediately.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think every Inter fan would sign up for a 0-0.
Yeah, I'm taking a point from that match. I feel this is like one of the hardest matches we can get in the Champions League. Atletico is a totally different animal at home versus away, especially this season. And like we saw, was it 2 years ago when we played against them? They were totally different games. And yeah, I'm not feeling
I just
confident either.
I want to say though, I really think Atletico are like at least a tier beneath like the real big teams. You know what I mean? Like the Real Madrids, the Bayern Munichs, the Barcelonas,
They're
the
saying that they're in the same tier as us.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I am actually. I think historically speaking, obviously, Inter are a bigger club than fucking Atletico, and we historically belong in a tier above. But like realistically, I don't know. I see you guys. I haven't either been on the recent episodes or I haven't been able to comment, but I see you guys and other Inter fans talking about like Atletico and this is one of the worst opponents we could have picked. Like fuck off. Atletico is like a somewhere closer to Dortmund than they are to like PSG. So I really don't
But
think
look at their record. Look at the home versus away record. Like this is a tough matchup. This
it's a tough
Atletico.
matchup, but it's not. It's not on the level of like a Real Madrid, and what did we lose like 4 games in a row to Real Madrid in the last like 5 years? Like, yeah, I don't think it's at that level. I don't think it's at a Man City level, even though Man City seem a bit retarded this year. So I don't know. I don't see it to be honest. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we could barely beat a child these days. So I mean that figuratively and literally. So doesn't fill me with too much confidence to be real. But yeah, I just don't see Atletico as like anywhere near the top
Yeah,
echelon.
yeah, but like there's a difference between like okay, if we were playing a knockout against Atletico, sure I might like peg us to win, but they've won the stat is they've won 11 of their last 12 home Champions League games. So for a random like Wednesday afternoon league phase match, like this is a high degree of difficulty game.
Who are they against though? Those 11 out of 12 Champions League home wins. Who are they against? Any
Yeah.
teams of interstature or higher? I think they beat Liverpool, didn't they? Or they came. Didn't they get spanked by Liverpool? I can't even remember, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in England, but yeah, Liverpool spanked them. But like I said, they've been so different in home versus away this season. That's I remember. I don't have the stats with my cell phone, so can't kind of check everything. But I just feel this is a tough one. Alvarez is on fire, and Atletico. Yeah, I see the point that they are not at the level of those like heavy hitters, like right at the top. If you talk about like top 5 teams, but still, like they spend a ton of money. They spend more than us, and this is a tough one.
All right. Well, I will. I'm predicting a loss for this one. I'm actually going to predict us to lose 3-0. I don't see this one happening for a variety of factors. Just too much not in our favor here. And I hear the stats for you, Jay, in terms of some of the clubs they've beaten at home during this. I don't know, 11 out of 12 game streak. You've got last season they beat Leverkusen. 2 years ago, Dortmund, of course, ourselves, and I believe those are the bigger teams. There's also a PSG win in this mix. That's pretty much it. Other than that, small sides. But yeah, I'm not feeling confident. I don't trust this team mentally to pick themselves up off the mat. So I'll go a 3-0 loss. Mikko, did you have a prediction?
No, I need to be a doom and gloom here as well. I'm gonna go with 2-0 Atletico. We can't we can't get over with the derby loss, so we will head to the next weekend with two losses in a row in our belt. Let's see. Let's see. We
I,
are
I'm
all
going.
wrong.
I'm going to demand one more Jay's hot betting tip for the people. Jay, can you please give me a prediction for Napoli at Roma next weekend in Serie A?
It'll be a draw, 100% draw, like some real dog shit 0-0. Conte and Gasparini, basically the Bin Laden and Zakawi of football, are going to cancel each other out. And who reaps the benefits from this stalemate at the top of the table? You're damn right. Fucking Gaddafi himself, Allegri, right in there, is going to take pole position following these two spastic teams, both dropping points. If there's one thing you can count on when Milan are annoyingly doing well, it's for every other shithead to go out of their way to somehow help them to do well. The biggest shitheads of all being Inter, of course. The most guilty of that.
Well, what a fitting end to the episode. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Mikko, thank you for dialing in from wherever you are in Milan. Thank you for being the man on the streets. Will you please do the honor?
Forza Inter and Forza Hidden Champions League Switch.
That's right. Well, we'll give you guys a Subito after the Atletico game. We'll catch you all then.